Water is another big issue related to solar thermal, and you're, I believe, chair of the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Energy and Water. We have abundant water supply this year in California, but projections in climate change, as you mentioned, are for less water, more stress, more water fights. We're in a tight financial situation. How are we going to handle allocating water, less water in the future when we don't have money to build new conveyance or new storage?
Yeah, here's the big thing. When the infrastructure was built, we were about 16 million people. We are now close to 38 million people, and we have essentially the same water infrastructure. One big federal project and one state project, which was begun by Governor Pat Brown. We should be able to hold water from the wet years. We ought to be able to collect this year's runoff and hold it at ground storage for the dry years. We need to do more of this.
Sorry, at ground, is that meaning above ground or underground?
Well, it's both.
Okay.
We need to recharge the groundwater, which is very depleted, particularly in the southern part of the Central Valley, and can have a real problem with subsidence. We need to also increase storage. The legislature had looked at a bond which should go on the ballot, and
keeps getting pushed back.
It keeps getting pushed back, and I hope very much this year that a bond issue will go on the ballot. We need to have an adequate water storage. We need to be able to do the recycling, the tertiary treatment, the groundwater recharge, transferring water back and forth based on need, and some of those things, and we need the money to do it.
One of the tensions is between fishermen and farmers, and you've sometimes favored sending water down south to farmers, and do you also think we need to sometimes bend the Endangered Species Act with regard to salmon or other species to kind of, as part of a water compromise?
Well, no. I've had a real problem with the science that the Department of Interior has used to determine when to shut down the pumps. That if you catch 7 smelt in the pumps, smelt are about this big.
As big as your finger, yeah.
You shut down the pumps. Well, did they count the number of smelt that were there in the first place? No. Did they count the smelt that were eaten by predator fish, which are all over the place? No. Did they count the smelt that might have died by the fact that sewage with ammonia is emitted into that area? No. And so my belief is that we are the largest agricultural state in the Union. I am very proud of California agriculture. I have tried to be helpful to it. We produce good produce. And it's a kind of, now that I live a lot on the East Coast, I know the difference. And trust me, California agriculture is really top-notch. So I want to see it be successful. And a judge has just thrown out the smelt opinion on the basis...
What an unfortunate name for a fish or
right.
a case, yeah.
On the basis of faulty biology. Now, the salmon opinion, they are going to compromise rather than, I think, have the same fate. So we need to look at how we do these things more carefully. And I think that will be the case. We're lucky we've got a year when we have enough water. Everybody has 100% of their contract, except for south of Delta farmers, which right now have 85%. I think that will increase, but it is enough that they can fully plant